Hey, sorry guys, I'm late. How is everybody? Chloe Jade, I'm glad to see you. Lady R, I'm glad you're here. Are you happy it's Friday? Can you hear me, guys? I hope so. I can see the chat. So that's a good thing because I haven't done this in like a month. Well, no, actually, it's probably been more like 2 months. So Lady R says, thank God it's Friday, right? I haven't done this in probably 2 months or more, and I couldn't remember how to use StreamYard, and I originally had signed into YouTube and forgot to start this other one, so I ended up deleting the other one and then restarting through StreamYard. So I'm sorry I'm late, but I'm glad that you guys are here. And if at any time, like you have a question or anything, just jump up and down in the chat, or if you want to say something, or I don't know if I can have like send a link on panel if anybody wants to come up and talk as well. I don't know I haven't learned how to do that yet, but maybe I can figure it out. You are sharing. Yay. So do you guys ever when you're going to watch a video, do you ever read the description that comes with the video, or do you just read the title? I'm always trying to wrap my brain thinking like how to word this description and try to get all just the main points in that I'd like to talk about, try to help me keep me focused and everything. But some of the things that I was hoping to talk about tonight was circumstantial evidence and also direct evidence and how those things could pertain to the Summer Wells case. I know there's been so much talk lately about folks that really want to go back to the beginning and listen to the interviews and watch videos and restreams and such. And I think that's a good idea. And I think one of the questions I'm sure most of us have had is what kind of evidence could law enforcement have or TBI have? Do they have any direct evidence, or is it more circumstantial things? And then what do we need to look at from a viewer's, outsider's perspective on things that could be important and things that could be mentioned that are seemingly relevant to her case and to getting her justice and to getting her found, right? I've taken some notes. I've got like this huge 3-ring notebook binder, and it's like filled with all my thoughts and questions and things that I have. And it's so hard, when you're in chat that it's hard to get your points across, I think, or when you want to say something that has meaning or is more meaningful than at other times, it's harder to kind of get your thought process down. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do a live. And I do have some information that I found out recently that I feel is very important, and that is regarding a topic that many of us have discussed, debated, analyzed in regards to summer. And I wanted to share that with everybody. I think it'll help clarify some things, but yet we're still going to have questions, unfortunately, even after this is discussed. What I'm going to do, I'm going to switch my banner over to Summer Wells since we're talking about her. Welcome to Birdie's Crime Chat. I'm Birdie. And I'm glad you're here. Okay. So the other going back to, that's weird. It just totally ended my chat. I clicked on the banner for the tips for Summer Wells, and then I just lost the whole chat. I don't know what happened. Sorry. I hope you guys can still hear me though. But Summer Wells, if anybody is not aware, is she was a 5-year-old little girl missing from Rogersville, Tennessee, which is in Hawkins County. She went missing June 15th in 2021. I see, you guys, I'm so dumb. I clicked on private chat, not comments. I'm so sorry. Lady R, you took notes too. Like, that's all I've done. I filled this thing up, and then I'm like, it's not organized, and so, but it helps keep me focused, I guess, and jot down new ideas and try to make these different connections and such. So, but anyway, sorry about that. Summer went missing from the Beach Creek community in Rogersville on June 15th of 2021. At that time, she was 5 years old, and she has blonde hair, blue eyes. There's kind of conflicting statements regarding her weight. I think at one time it said she weighed 30 pounds. And then in another update, I had seen 40 pounds. She was standing approximately 3 feet tall. However, that's really, really short. I would have thought she was a little bit taller than that, but her hair was very, very short. Probably like, gosh, I don't even know if it was 2 inches long, maybe at the time of her disappearance. And within the first, I'm going to say 12 to 24 hours, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation issued an Amber Alert due to concerning extenuating circumstances they found out, or concerning information that they discovered after she was initially announced as missing, that prompted them to report or initiate the Amber Alert. So that is what we're going to discuss, a little bit about her disappearance, but the possibilities of circumstantial versus direct evidence in a case. And what prompted me to want to discuss this is because we have all been, hey, Heather Lynn, how are you doing? Good to see you. So when I've looked at this infamous milk jug video, and the photograph of little Summer in the back seat of the car or the truck, I think it's a truck probably, she's lying there kind of slumped over with her right arm is slightly tucked into the milk jugs. Her eyes appear almost all the way closed. I know people have kind of zoomed in and looked at her eyes, and they appear to be a little slightly opened. She looked like she had maybe a bruise on her earlobe. And in my opinion, there was concerning things that I saw in this video and in this photo that I felt were compelling enough to ask law enforcement, is there any way that this video and this photograph could be used in a court of law as circumstantial evidence? That is what pretty much drove me to find out this information. What is admissible in court? What is not? So first, of course, direct evidence. And I'm going to see if I can if there's any way that I can kind of link. I did a video, my very first one, where we went over the milk jug, or I hate to say that. I don't know. It's just one of my pet peeves. I hate that this video is like in quotation marks out there in the universe as the milk jug video. It just sounds bad. You know what I mean? But that's what everybody refers to it as. But so I forgot where I was. I wanted to look these things up, and I wanted to find out if there was any way any of this could be used, right? And I did a video, the first one, and we kind of went over some of the things that I found were concerning, in my opinion, possible injuries, the way that she appeared, and such. And what I was saying was I was going to try to see if I could somehow link that video in and put it up on the screen for you guys to see it. And I don't know if I remember how to do it because it's been so long. Hey, Burnt Dirt, thanks for joining. How you doing? I hope you're good. I hadn't seen you in a while. You been doing okay? Does anybody in the chat remember how to do that? How to bring over one of your videos? I'm not sure. I wonder if it's under settings or the plus. Hey, was his? How are you? It's good to see you. I don't know if you're just joining. We were kind of talking about circumstantial evidence versus direct evidence, and what could possibly be admissible in a court of law regarding, specifically regarding photographs and videos. I think you guys, if any of you guys had followed the Gannon Stock case, where Leticia, however you pronounce her name, when she was on trial for Gannon's murder, and there were some photos that were shared and looked at. She had taken the photo of poor Gannon in the bed. Of course, you couldn't see any details, but that was probably her attempt at a proof of life type of photo. And I read that some parents, unfortunately, that commit filicide or their accidents, they take these photographs for such as well. So, of course, I looked up direct evidence and just some really brief examples of direct evidence is going to be like if you've got security camera footage that's actually showing the person committing the crime. That's going to be a direct evidence type of a direct type of evidence. If you have an audio recording where somebody has confessed to a crime, that is, of course, ballistics. You've got pew-pews and the things that come out of them, and them the little things that come out of those that are identified belonging to a certain daddy pew-pew, let's just say. Let me scroll up. Let me go up here. Heather Lynn said something. The other day, Candace was showing a few new pics. Those were the last pic that she had taken in summer, new pics we never saw and thought, what about the milk jug pic? Okay, good. So I'm glad you're thinking along those lines already. Yeah. And I was just, I don't know if you were here yet. I was telling Lady R about, that's part of what we're going to talk about is the video and the photograph that came from that as well. So it's perfect timing. Another direct evidence is going to be an eyewitness testimony. But that has to be someone actually saw the person committing the crime in the act of commission. If not, let's say if they saw the person leaving the scene of a crime or an accident, then that is going to transfer over to circumstantial evidence. And then lastly, let's just say defendant's fingerprints that are found on a weapon that was used to commit a crime. That's a direct evidence. And I went to this website and a couple of different ones and was looking these things up. And I wish that they would have mentioned some things about DNA, because, obviously you feel more that that's going to be a direct evidentiary type of thing. Now, when we go back to circumstantial evidence, it's basically things that are implying that the defendant has committed a crime. And that's what you have to prove in a court of law and create more of a reasonable doubt. Like I gave you the eyewitness testimony that somebody was fleeing the scene of a crime, right? If you have an audio recording of a defendant stating the intent to commit a crime before that crime occurred. So if you had an audio recording conversation, let's just say a man hated his wife and his sister recorded him speaking, like explicatives and things that he wanted to do to harm her, then that would be admissible as circumstantial evidence. And one thing that was really neat was the Google search or your browser history, which we saw. Look at all these cases that we saw where their search histories came back with just horrendous things that they had looked up before this crime had occurred, especially with Letitia Stout, the Lisk case with what is it, Hierman? I don't know if that's right, how you pronounce it. So those things are, and then finally, video and photos can definitely be circumstantial evidence. But when you look at that, you've got to have qualifiers for circumstantial evidence. Basically, the requirements are, number one, they're going to ask you, is this relevant? Is this a relevant video or photo? Is it relevant to the material that's being presented in the case? And number two, is the photo or video properly authenticated? Basically, that means, does this photo or video accurately depict this person or this scene when it occurred? And that's the question that we have with the milk jug video. That's the question that we have with the photo of Miss Summer Wells. Is this an accurate representation of what Summer looked like on June 15th, 2021 at the time it was taken, right? Because it was presented to the public, you and I, God and America, the world. It was presented to us that this picture was taken June 15th, 2021, and even further stated that it happened at 3:09, right? I hope you guys remember that. So those things, when you're presenting evidence, those things have to be accounted for, whether or not it's going to be admissible in the case or in the court of law. Hey, Whistle, how are you? Thank you for being here. It was implied, right, Lady R? It was implied that it was. I think that they had stated that on some live streams, or the mother of Summer had stated that. Man, I wish I could show you guys this, what I have. Hey, A. Can I just say A? Because I don't want to mispronounce your last name. Thanks for being here. Good to see you. When I go back, I know some of the more common and more popular YouTube creators have recently been talking about the video again and the photograph of Summer in the back seat where she appears to be sleeping. And one of the arguments too was that, some people are on the fence about how she appears. Some people feel that, yes, she does look like she may have been injured or hurt or not well. And then some people feel like, no, she's just sleeping and she's, she appears fine to me. And I think earlier on, even there had been a forensic, let's see, I don't want to not say her title correctly. I think she was the director of maybe the forensic lab in New York. It's Miss Barbara Butcher, wonderful woman, she's actually a physician's assistant, which is similar to a nurse practitioner. And I don't know what her title was, but she had maybe she was like the director of the crime lab or something, but she was very well versed in autopsies and, crimes associated and the injuries and things like that. And I think some of the people in the medical profession have looked at this. There's been variable opinions about it. And one of my things is like, a medical examiner is a physician. A medical examiner they've done 4 years of undergrad. They've completed 4 years of med school. They've completed 3 to 4 years of residency. And then after that, they may have to do like a fellowship. So you're going to be a forensic pathologist. Well, if you're going to do a fellowship, you probably were going to do that for forensics or forensic science to learn the criminal aspects of autopsies and conducting them. Then you've got a coroner, which is someone that is usually an elected position within a certain area, like a county. You've got your county coroners. They don't conduct autopsies, but they can do death pronouncements. If there is a suspicious death or one that is questionable, it would be the coroner's responsibility to reach out to their local medical examiner or transfer it to someone that does like autopsies. In our area, we have ETSU, Quillen College of Medicine, and they do autopsies, and that is in Johnson City, Tennessee. You're probably more familiar with the Body Farm, which is UT Med Center. They have medical examiners in Knoxville, and then the Body Farm is actually like a crime lab where they examine different decedents, and they place them in different conditions to look at how the body decomposes, whether it's warm, cold, and then of course the different insect activity and such. So pretty cool. But so the professionals, like I said, have been kind of back and forth. I have worked in hospice before, so I have seen patients that were actively dying, worked in the hospital, taking care of people that, in their homes, in the nursing home, in the hospital, that have both had short experiences with end of life and then those that have had really extended, long death experiences. And so there's very different stages that, of course, the human body goes through whenever dying is occurring, whether that's from a traumatic accident and death is more imminent, or if it's like a chronic illness, such as cancer, end-stage COPD, heart disease, ALS. Some of those things can be more gradual. And so the changes that you see in the body are going to be different, right? So that was one of the things where I felt like the concerning things that I felt like I saw with Summer, we didn't know for sure what those were, right? We didn't know about the stain that looked like a stain on her jacket. Could that have been a possible saturation stain? And then the possible bruise on the earlobe. But, oh man, I wish I could show you guys this thing. I've seen handfuls of dead bodies. I've cleaned, Lady R said, people in their homes and waited hours for family. So you're familiar with that too, Lady R. That is quite a humbling experience, and one that is really, the families are so grateful for anyone that comes into their home and cares for their loved one that's dying. That is such a you have to have a servant's heart to do those things, the very intimate things like that. You did? I didn't know that. I did too. That's awesome. That is such a underutilized, hospice care is so underutilized in America. It breaks my heart. Just a little side note, we would often get patients that were, dying within, well, some people had passed away within the first 24 hours of us admitting them to our service. So, and that is, of course, not the goal, but I understand things like that happen and people grieve differently and accept things differently. But it was always the goal to get someone on our service as early as we possibly could. And that kind of gives us a chance to get someone comfortable and get them prepared for end of life in a more gradual way where their family can be more accepting and answer questions, and then spend the most quality time, of course, that they can with them at home. But yeah, you said you're grateful that some people, yeah, I am too. I am too. Let them stay at home. So this led me to all of these questions that I had and the concerns that I had with that photograph, with that video. Is there any way that this could be admissible in court? And the question that we have is it legitimate? Is it accurately depict Summer at that date and on that time? So I actually contacted the district attorney's office with this question, and I left a message with someone that I'm sure you guys have heard the name, but I never got a phone call back. I emailed people, asked them this question. I didn't get a return call back. I actually was able to speak with someone in law enforcement and asked this question and told them that I had contacted the DA's office with the same information, wanting to know if this could be used. And the answer was no, it cannot. And I wanted to explain the concerns I had, right? I wanted to, it's just, I mean, Summer has no voice, right? She is unable to speak for herself. And I think I felt this overwhelming sense of concern, like, I'm worried that something's happened to her and that she's in this condition. And I feel like it may be helpful in finding answers. So I was on the phone with this gentleman and just trying, like, pleading, and saying, but this and but that, but I'm seeing this looks like a bruise and a saturation. And he said, it cannot be used. It cannot be used. And I said, but I don't understand. He said, where did you see this at? And I said, well, actually, the mom had posted it to TikTok, and I viewed it there. And then, of course, later on, it was on social media, on other avenues of social media. I don't know if she ever posted it on Facebook, but of course it landed on YouTube. So he said, no, it cannot be used. And I said, I don't understand. I don't understand why. And I said, but wait a minute. I said, was it even recorded on June 15th? And he didn't say anything. There was silence. And I said, wait a minute. I said, has it been edited? Has this video been altered? Because I've worried about that, right? I think we all have. And I said, but why? I don't understand. Why would a family intentionally add where it looked like injuries or something was wrong with them? And then it clicked. And I thought, wow, maybe that was the case. Maybe it was altered to look like something that it wasn't. So I never got confirmation that it was not recorded on June 15th, 2021 at 3:09 p.m. There was no confirmation as to whether the video was edited or altered in any way, but it's either one of those two things, right? It's either the video was not recorded at that time on that date, or there were things that were altered. And I heard a live where I was listening to a live that Benny Keys had done, and he mentioned artificial intelligence. And he said, I wonder if AI can help in missing kids cases. I'm not sure how it could be beneficial. That's a good question. But I can certainly see how it could be harmful. Lady Arse is edited. And you know what, ma'am? I'm going to tell you why I think it was edited. Part of the reason. And it may have been edited and recorded on a separate day or time. Because when you look at the video, her right hand looks like it's completely flexed. Like her fingers are pointing toward her forearm. Almost like a broken wrist would look like. Or somebody that's into cortical posturing when they have a neurological problem. It's a non-purposeful response. Like y'all have seriously thought of all of these scenarios and physical trauma and neurological trauma and what can occur with the human body to produce these different effects and, the way things look and such. So, but when you look at that, that is not a natural position. And so I feel like there's been some editing that's gone on, and that's what's caused this arm distortion to occur. I feel like the seatbelt was probably not placed on her abdomen, or it was removed, digitally removed, so that the stain could have been applied to the jacket. Because in every other photo and every other video, she is in a seatbelt. She is in a booster seat. Now, I'm not saying that never happens. It may. With the lap belt or the shoulder harness is definitely attached. So I thought that was really interesting. But I feel like this can put our minds at ease that we can move on from that video or photo. In my heart, I feel like I can. In the sense of it's not admissible in court. Is it going to tell us anything definitive? I don't know. I can't come up with anything, because the doubt is even more now so that I've spoken to law enforcement and they've basically confirmed that it cannot be used. They have confirmed that. And that means one of two things, right? Now, after this, the two things about the videos and photos about their admissibility is the credibility. Are they credible? And the article that I read mentioned, photos can be skewed. They can be edited. You can change just other things like camera position, the lighting, the angle of the lens. Those things in the past, before we had all of this digital, all of these digital electronics and things, were using more, I guess, clever things for camera angles to create, maybe shave off 5 pounds on the thigh area if you turn your camera just a little to the left. But nowadays, it's like you got to worry about what? Artificial intelligence and putting kids' pictures in places that they're not, editing photos, buffering out wounds, cutting low the contrast, and, maybe take a bruise off of a face. And that's frightening. And I wonder, because I don't know this, I don't know if you guys know or not, but I wonder if, like the crime scene, the digital, I'm sure they have a name, a department, the digital forensics specialist, if they are able to tell that a photo has been altered or a video has been altered. I would think so. What do y'all think? Heather Lynn says, wasn't that pic and video from an iPhone? Who had an iPhone at the time? I'm not sure. I don't know what kind of phones that they had, but maybe they did have an iPhone. Maybe the mom did. I wondered if going over to, well, I'm not going to say that. I don't want to say that. I shouldn't say that. There was one more thing that I know. Oh, do you guys know the picture of Summer where she's sitting in the clinic, or it looks like an exam chair, an exam room, and she's sitting there and she has those dark black sunglasses on? I was noticing, I looked at that picture and her little fingertips, look at her hands when you see that. Her fingertips look very abnormal. I mean, it looks like the ends of her fingers are gone. It's so sad. The glasses look like they were added on. It does not look legitimate to me. I encourage you to go back through and look at those. And do you remember that photo came out when people were saying, oh, the family, these kids haven't been to the doctor. This is hearsay. I'm just repeating what, chatters had said and certain creators may have said, where, excuse me, they said, those children were likely not taken to the doctor and they were not up to date on things and taken care of, and the dentist. And we do know that Summer had the cavities in her front teeth and her gums were swollen. And then this picture appears, right, with these sunglasses on, and they were like, see, they took her to the doctor and the eye doctor, and there was question whether or not, she'd had this checkup for school and vaccines that were required before you start kindergarten. And this photo appears as like some kind of quote unquote proof that she had in fact gone and was seen. So, but I noticed those things on that photo, and that kind of just, it seemed like it was altered in my opinion. Lady R said, cameras are the first AIs in my opinion. Editing can also put bruises on that might not have been there. Right. That's true. There is so many things that have changed, and all these different editing tools that people have, and you can add things that may not have been present before, like a saturated looking blood stain or blood or blue fingernail tips or things that are concerning. Burnt Dirt said the milk is stood up to her resting shape. No one would set that milk to stick while driving in that position otherwise. Yeah, that was very bizarre, wasn't it? Like most people would just set it in the floorboard. I wouldn't even have it in the seat. I'd just put it in the floorboard. If you've not cracked open the milk and took a drink out of it, it's got a seal, right? So the whole thing was bizarre. And the other thing, this is what got me too. When Chris McDonough from the interview room, when he was talking to H at his home, and he mentioned the ride home, that day. They'd been out and about, went to Priceless, allegedly, different vape places, Sonic, and he was asking about where he sat, where Summer sat, and why were the milk jugs positioned the way they were. And H didn't even know what he was talking about. He was like, milk jugs, what? To me, it seemed genuine, like a genuinely inquisitive response. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. So that made me feel like there wasn't any. There probably weren't any. He was like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. And then, the mom's sitting there looking at him like, oh, shit. I think somebody just messed up or forgot or, I don't know. So that, I don't know. I was like, man, I don't think he was aware there was any milk in the car. And I don't know. That was just a red flag to me. Let's see, Heather Lynn. Yeah, remember someone said they were tech savvy. I do remember that. So I know there was a visit, a day or two later, I think, after the day she disappeared, and the phone was looked into. During that interview, he said that he looked through her phone and saw some of these deleted messages and such. So, I don't feel like, I don't know if the mom could have done that herself with this editing. So you ask yourself, if not, then who helped do that? Who assisted in that potentially to swayed people's opinions in a certain direction? Lady Orders, she puts her milk in a bag that I bring myself because I don't like the bottom of milk to get dirty. That's funny. Yeah, I always bag my milk too. Heather Lynn, right, I got that feeling too. So that was a thing. I don't know. I questioned. There's so many questions, right? God, there's so many. There's so much conflicting information, and I feel like some of the videos, some of the interviews that were done early on were very questionable. But then I think after the immediate family started watching other interviews and saw people talking and discussing these things, that stories started to change, and like I can never think of this word, but basically like you alter what you've said to kind of go along with what's been said already, to make the facts fit into that scenario, if that makes sense. What is that word? I cannot think of it. You're not improvising. Burnt dirt lady. Oh my God, y'all are making my belly hurt, but I'm laughing so hard. Oh, you're sweet, burnt dirt. Thank you. Birdie's killing this, y'all. Are you a y'all person too? This is we up here in Northeast Tennessee. This is Vol country. Now I'm going to make everybody mad and everybody will leave. I wonder, we're probably like one of the most hated college teams in America, I bet. So that was pretty much, I think, the biggest things that I wanted to talk about. He said his interview was very much led by mom. Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of guidance there too. And it's hard to, I've got like conflicting feelings about that interview. just being younger, and it's hard. I mean, God knows we've all wanted answers, and we've all wanted details, and trying to help find her, search for her, flyers putting up, spreading awareness. And I think definitely that these interviews have helped in a sense. We've seen so many things. But at the same time, I feel like his youth was possibly, I don't want to say taken advantage of, but there's an air of, I feel an air of compassion, I guess, due to the age and, the perception of him and things like that. So I kind of have mixed feelings about it. But it's certainly, I know that I'm sure it's been helpful. The sad thing is, in a sense, is that law enforcement allows people that are involved around cases or mysteries that we don't know, missing persons. They allow the immediate family, friends, whoever, to lie and not be truthful to the public. And this has been such a weird, horrible, wild case because we've just seen so many variable things and questionable things. And it's like, it sometimes can be really hard differentiating truth from lies, where they're possibly trying to do that word that I can't think of, where they, oh man, that's going to drive me crazy not remembering. They alter their story. I don't know. Chris McDonough, I know he's got this word down pat, but they change their story. Adapting. Is that it? They adapt. So new details come out or conflicting information, and then there's an adaptation of the old story to fit things that people now see as truth, right? Yay, I found it. Okay. So I don't know, but I've never seen a family, I guess, that's come out into the public in this manner. That adds an air of, I'm sure, additional, can you imagine the additional frustration that law enforcement's felt having to deal with the phone calls that were probably irrelevant and hearsay, not actual tips, but just going by things that they've said on a live stream. I can't imagine having to sift through that. And Lord have mercy, I can't imagine. Wonder who does that. Like, somebody initially fields these tips, you think. Like you get a caller, and I wonder if they triage it like you do in nursing. Level of importance, imminent need versus you can call them back in 3 days versus file, what did they call it? File 13. That means trash can. And you don't ever hear back from anybody. Yeah, Heather Lynn says they can lie to us and it's not against any law. Exactly. And I think that's been frustrating for a lot of people. And then you have someone that stated, oh, I just feed him a bunch of bullshit and like gets off on or enjoys, which is, how crazy is that? Watching people squirm and ask questions about the absurdities that were said. That's sadistic. I'm sorry. That's some warped stuff right there. More games, but games with money. Yeah. That's so true. Is there anything else that y'all want to talk about? I don't know how long I've been on here yet. Has it been an hour? Lady R up here, you said, I still really think kids left to the gas station or wherever, and then it was a bear. That's still the strongest feeling I have in my soul. That's interesting, Lady R. Could have been. Could have been. I've seen a lot of, that would have probably been about the time that they were, coming out of hibernation? I don't know. I don't know a lot about bears. I think we have, is it the brown bear here or black bear in this neck of the woods? But a lot of people have been posting like Ring camera footage of bears in their patio, getting their swimming pool. It's like, oh my God, that's wild. I hope she and pray she's found. But children or even adults have been missing and the searchers haven't found them. They've been looked over. That's happened. It's possible. And especially in the terrain and the area that Summer went missing from, that is a huge, huge consideration, being that the rural, how rural it is over there and all of the foliage and possible, even like a sinkhole, right? Or anything she could have fallen. I just would hope, and I would have hoped if that was the case that they could have hurt her somehow if she was injured. I don't know though. You never know. No, she said June 15th is summer. They wake up in spring. Okay, thank you. See, I told you I don't know anything about bears. Summer's when the berries are gone and they start eating meat. Oh, wow. Okay. I wonder what kind of berries they like here. I've had my experience with bears in May to June every time I go to the Smokies. Yeah. When we camp, we really have to put our food up. Either do it in a tree. We used to have these, I don't know what you call them, but it was like bear-proof your food, basically. We used to sling it over tree limbs and put it up real high when I was a kid. But anymore, it's just like in a locked cooler. Bears don't prefer humans, though, but they will if they accidentally snuck up on or hungry. Black bears are the least aggressive of all the best family. Oh, cool. I didn't know that either. Did you all see that video of, I don't know where I saw it. It was like on TikTok or wherever, but there was a mama bear and she was protecting her cubs and these people came up on her and she was extremely aggressive. I thought for sure something bad was going to happen, but they actually got away. That was insane though. I had a bear eat my old KFC chicken sandwich. I didn't want it. I threw it in the trash. That joker turned the can over and took the sandwich. Oh my God. It threw Red Bull cans everywhere. Could you imagine a bear on Red Bull? That would be one crazy ass bear. I had one scratch the trunk of my car trying to get something. It was on the roof of the cabin. Oh my gosh. We've got this crazy raccoon around here that is trying everything it can to get in our trash cans outside. And I mean, it's not afraid at all. It comes up before dark. And we actually had to put a cinder block on top of the trash can lid. And even after we did that, that thing is still clawing and gnawing and showing its teeth. I mean, just like there's no tomorrow. I'm like, man, this whole thing's persistent. Hang on one second, y'all. Okay, sorry about that. Do you hear that bird chirping? Man, that thing was loud. Do you guys have plans for this weekend? What's everybody gonna do? Got a video of one standing up on his hind legs, basically telling me to shut the F up. I was yelling at it. I was yelling at it to get gone probably, and it would not budge. That bear looked at me and stood up and roared. I don't see how you didn't flip out. That would have scared me half to death. Oh, I didn't know that either. About the bears, Lady R. That's interesting. So there wouldn't be potentially a lot of evidence if something like that did happen, due to how they take their prey, the bears. Okay. You wish you were driving to the Smokies? It's really humid and hot here, but it's nice. I mean, it's really pretty. I think it got up to 87 or 88 today. You were on a balcony. Well, that gave you some sense of security, I bet. At least you were up higher and away from it. That reminds me, what was the movie, The Great Outdoors? When that bear comes in there and into their cabin, and Dan Aykroyd and what's his name? Lord, I'm getting old. What is his name? Jim? Anyway, they end up shooting the bear in the butt, and all of its hair just like goes poof, and it's got a bare bottom. That was hilarious. Great Outdoors. If y'all have not seen that movie, you've got to watch it. It's an old, probably 1980s movie, but it was so good. It's funny. I'm a Gen Xer, so I like the 80 movies. I'm embarrassed. You love that movie. I do too. I'm so embarrassed that I can't remember his name. Burnt Dirt says Belushi. It wasn't him. Is it John Good? Not John Goodman. It was, he was in the movie Uncle Buck, the main character. What's his name? Oh, well. You know who I'm talking about. He's so funny. Him and Steve Martin. Oh, my Lord. John Candy. Yes, thank you. I'm thoroughly embarrassed. I forgot his name. Let's see. What did you say about Base Mountain? Base Mountain Nature Reserve has a YouTube channel. They don't tell you the stuff I have told you, but they share about the local bears. Yeah. Have you ever been to Base Mountain? Has any of y'all ever been? It's really nice. They've got, you like the 80s movies too. I do too. They were some of the best. But Base Mountain, they've got like a reptile exhibit. They've got turtles. They used to have river otters, and something happened. I'm not sure what happened, but they were removed. We've got wolves, and a lot of them are getting older. They have arthritis and stuff, but I love to go watch the wolves, and they're really interesting, and they'll start howling and stuff if their handlers can get them really active. It's pretty cool to see. And they actually have a planetarium. I don't know if y'all know that, but it's the only one in the whole country of its kind, and it shows the entire like galaxy, I guess. All the stars, and it's like stadium seating in an auditorium, and they do these presentations on different constellations and meteor showers, and it's really cool. That used to be a field trip when I was growing up. We'd go to Base Mountain. That was a huge ordeal. Pack a brown bag lunch and wrap up your can of Coke in some aluminum foil, your PB&J, and that was it. Clockwork Orange, and Donnie Darko. I drove through Tennessee once, though. Oh yeah, Texas to Florida. Tennessee's beautiful. Thank you. I think it's really pretty here. Um, I like the mountains and the rivers and the lakes and hiking and fishing. It's awesome. Trout fishing if you like that. And my husband, he likes to fly fish, so he loves that. And we enjoy it. We enjoy being outdoors. So, and I'm pretty sure the crime rate here is relatively low. But it's weird because on YouTube, folks hear, of course, the story about Summer and there's a few other people that have been missing, and I think it gets a really bad reputation, being seen as just this horrible place to live, but it's really not. It's horrible what happened to her. Yes, it is. Absolutely. But generally speaking, this seems to be a pretty good place. Oh, you love fishing too? I do too. I'm not great at it though. We went fishing at it was the South Holston River in Bluff City not long ago, and we didn't get one bite, not one. And there was like four of us: my dad, my kid, me, my sister, her kids. But I don't know. You never know, right? Oh, really? You want to move here? Do you know what town you'd like to move to? Of course, we're here. We're like in I don't know what you call this, the valley. The mountains are close. I'd say the closest is, what would be the closest? Irwin. Irwin's like at the foothills. And then on the other side, if you go into Virginia, that's pretty over there too. Like Hilton's, past Abingdon. It's really pretty over there too. And very rural, a lot of farmland. We all like my video? I hope I didn't forget to say hi to somebody. I'm not very good at this. I'm horrible with technology, and I don't know how to share stuff. I don't really know how to create a video or anything like that, and editing. And such, but I really wanted to share it with y'all, this information, because I felt like it was important. I feel like, feel free to tell your friends what I was told. The only thing I kind of hesitated, just because I don't, I don't ever want to create anything that's going to cause unnecessary calls to law enforcement. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to create more problems for them. And that was my hesitation about mentioning this, is that I thought, dear God, is 500 people going to call these, local LE or TBI to verify that this is in fact truth? Please don't do that. It's not going to change the course of anything, other than perhaps it would solidify what you just, it would verify what you just heard me say. But I don't record people, or especially not law enforcement, for crying out loud. But I don't record conversations and stuff like that. So it's just not an option with me. But I really wanted to know, and I'm so thankful that this person who is important in LE and revolving around this case, I'm thankful that they finally said something about that, because God knows I have been wondering since it came out, since it came out and was viewed by all of us. And then we, just spent, I've spent hours looking at put that over there, baby. Thank you. I spent hours looking at that video and analyzing it and dragging in all this medical data and facts, and I'm like, man, they can't even be, it's not even anything that can be used. Oh, thank you, Heather. It's a great life. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for coming. You want to stay in Sevierville? Yeah, Sevierville's pretty. It's nice. It's of course, it's really, I'm sure there's more parts to it, but of course we always go to Dollywood, and Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg when we stay in Sevierville. I've never been anywhere else. Well, yeah, I take that back. I'm sorry. We've been camping up there too, and gotten us a cabin, not directly in the midst of all of the, the more commercial stuff and all of the fun things. But there's so much to do. You would never be bored, but it'd be expensive, if you do all that Dollywood stuff and Pigeon Forge stuff. But the kids love it. They have a ball. Of course, us big adults, or us adults like big kids, we do too. Birdie, everyone here knows that about you. And knows what, hun? Don't worry. Well, thank you for saying that, though. In my other life, I must have been an Appalachian. Hey, you never know. Speaking of Appalachia, have you guys watched the Appalachian? I think it's Appalachian Storyteller. Any of their YouTubes, lives that they've done, or stories? They're really good. This guy narrates a story, and there's different ones, and it's like old folk tales and true stories, and he's just really good at narration and telling a story. I really like him. Oh God, the neighbor's drilling something in the garage. That's loud. Is that his name? Steve Stockton? Thank you. I didn't know that. Yeah. I encourage y'all to subscribe if you're not familiar. He's really, I think he does a good job. It's pretty interesting, the history and stuff that he talks about too. Gatlinburg's your favorite place. Then when I went and did a poll, for the locals there on where to live if I want to live there and see it all. They tell me Sevierville. Yeah, it's popular and beautiful. And of course, not only about the fun stuff, but you've got the river and the gem mines and camping and hiking and hunting for waterfalls. It's fun. It's a good place. Oh, you did? You decorated your house with that? I bet that's pretty. I love that. Especially when people do it at Christmas time. I think that looks so cool. Do you have any Indian heritage? I've got Cherokee in me. But I think it's like, it's either, I think it's an eighth. It's my great, great, great grandma, great, great, great grandmother was a full blooded Cherokee Indian. They were from Virginia. You have Cherokee too? You know, somebody once told me that if you did one of the DNA tests, like 23andMe or one of those others, that Cherokee or Indian heritage, Native American would not show up on that. Is that true? Have y'all ever heard that before? Your great grandmother was half blooded? This is really interesting. I'll tell you this story. So, my great 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 grandmother, that was full blooded Cherokee, she was known as the town. I don't know what word that they used. I need to do better about my heritage and look stuff up. But she had it's like in Spanish they're called a curandera, which is like a medicine woman, right? And she would make up all of the remedies and antidotes and treated people when they were sick or hurt. And she was also like had this. Now this is a rumor. I don't know. This is passed down generation to generation, right? But she was like she could see into things, and she had these really wild um, intuition and dreams, and she would tell people these things, and I thought that was so cool. My great grandmother told me some really cool stories about her growing up. And I like to say that that's one of the reasons why I went into nursing and medicine, was because of her. It was kind of in my blood. I wish, I don't think I even have a picture of her. I hate that. But yeah, that stinks if it is true. I don't know. And I can't remember the reason that they told me why it's like that, but I need to look that up too. Well, I think I'm going to let you guys go. Unless you had something else you want to talk about. There's so much to talk about with Summer's case. But if anybody has any information, please, 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 that's credible tips, please call 1-800-TBI-FIND for Summer. There's also an email address. I think it's, let me think, tips to TBI at tn.gov for any information with Summer Wells. And then there's, of course, the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office phone number, and I apologize, I do not have that number memorized. Hey, it was good chatting with you too, Lady R, Heather Lynn, Bart Dirt, Whistle While You Lurk. If anybody else is out there, thank you for listening. I appreciate y'all coming. Please hit the like if you could. I hope that some of our other friends will see this and at least they'll understand what happened about the video and the photo. Hey, it's great to meet you too, Heather Lynn. So happy you guys came by. I hope y'all have a good night. I'll talk to you soon, though. Oh, good. Thank you, Lady R. Yes, see something, say something. Absolutely. Bye, y'all. Much love.